we're going to have to do this even maybe on the side or
Just
something.
for the heck of it, why not?
Well, Jeff Gordon has joined us here in the media center here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. And the number 24 car tonight, the Exalta Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports, came in 6th in tonight's championship finale. Jeff, I know you gave it all you had, and certainly you went out on top as your career comes to a close here tonight. But certainly it's got to be a day of emotions and so forth. And maybe just tell these fine folks what you're thinking right now.
You know, gosh, I'll be honest, you know, the competitor in me, you know, got a little bit just so caught up in the moment of the race where we took the lead and I got really excited and I thought, okay, you know, we got clean air, let's see what we have. I knew that we needed a few adjustments. The track was really slick and, you know, there were some, I mean, I actually felt like when I got ahead of Kyle, you know, that we actually pulled away from him. So I kind of got excited and got my hopes up there. But then Kevin started coming on pretty strong. And then we had that restart. And, you know, I knew when those guys got by me, I just didn't quite have what they had. I was just, you know, lacking a couple little things. And then the sun started going down. It really started changing, and we lost a bunch of positions and just couldn't gain them back. So, you know, right now, there's definitely a part of me that is caught up in that moment that we couldn't make it a little bit better, couldn't keep up with it. But I thought we showed what we're made of and what got us here. We fought really hard, fought back, and you know, we finished 6th. So for that, I'm proud and excited. I mean, nothing could have topped the way my day started. You know, I woke up. I was planning on sleeping in, and I was too excited, so I woke up a little earlier, pulled up the shades on, you know, on my bus, and my mom just happened to be, you know, walking by, and so that just made my day start so amazing to be able to sit down with her on that day, first thing in the morning, and you know, all the emotions and everything were just able to come out. And then we just had a great conversation. So, and then my stepdad came in, and then a little bit later, Ingrid and the kids showed up. So it was just perfect. Just missed a little bit on the race. So, I mean, I'm still just extremely proud and excited, not only the way that we ran this weekend and this year, but just my whole career. And it felt so good to see Rick Hendrick. I wanted to give him that race helmet. You know, designed that helmet with the intent of giving it to him. You know, he's so special to me, more than just a car owner driver relationship, and I was so happy to have that moment getting out of the car with him.
We'll take questions for Jeff Gordon. We'll start with Jim Utter, and we'll go to Holly Kane.
Jim Utter, motorsport.com. Talking to Rick briefly afterwards, he said basically what you did, that he knows the competitiveness in you wanted to win that race more in the championship more than anything, but he was so impressed with everything that has gone on today and leading up to today with kind of giving NASCAR giving you a send-off, and he thought that at the end that almost maybe meant as much or more than if you had won. I just wondered what you felt about everything that has transpired.
Well, we all know nothing would have been quite better than that and the win. But how, you know, I've learned a lot in life, and there's no such thing as a perfect day, you know, in a perfect life. Just like there's no such thing as a perfect race car. They're really close and good in times and better than the rest, but it doesn't mean that they're ever perfect. And I think had I won this race and this championship, that would have been perfect, and I don't think I could have accepted that. I wouldn't know how to. But I must say, everything that went on, from the stories I saw, the folks in this room who've been covering this sport for a long, long time, who know me, the things that were written about me, things that my competitors. So now I was relaxing in the bus after that conversation with my mom this morning, and I said, oh, I'll look up Twitter, see what the fans are doing. Little did I know my competitors were going to be tweeting out things, and man, and the emotions started going all over again. So, that's just unheard of. It's just, to me, unheard of that you're going to be going out competing against, individuals, even the ones we're competing against for the championship. When Kevin Harvick took that picture next to my car, I mean, that to me, I don't know if it gets much better than that. So in that sense, you're absolutely right, Jim. That send off, the drivers meeting, it's, the drivers are so competitive, and they don't show, they might have it inside them, but to show it publicly, their appreciation for other competitors just doesn't happen like that very often. And I really, really appreciate it very, very much. And it was extremely special. So the whole day, and it's not over yet. I'm looking forward to the rest of the evening as well.
We'll go to Holly Kane and then over here to Dan Wetzel. Go ahead, Holly.
Hey, real quick, there's a guy back here I brought with me. This guy right here, it just so and this is the timing of things, and there's been a lot of timing of things this week that's been just blowing my mind. But I've got a lot of big fans, obviously, and this weekend, I mean, I've seen so much incredible support. But this guy, I've seen this guy for years. This guy's been following me since 1995. Take that backpack off there real quick. You want to talk about commitment and a loyal fan and a nice guy. This guy is awesome. Show it to us. Come on. Give us some love. Now that right there, folks, that's commitment. That is commitment. But I just happened to run into him on the way in here. I said, man, and I didn't even mean to show all that. I just wanted him to be here, be part of it, because he's a huge fan, and I appreciate him and all of our fans so much, especially what I saw this weekend. All right, Holly, sorry, go ahead.
Would you believe me if I told you that I actually saw him about 5 hours earlier and interviewed him for the story I'm about to write?
Telling you. That guy is awesome.
I know it. I'm on it. I wanted to ask you, and you touched on this a little bit, but you've been known to be a fairly emotional kind of guy. But I was standing at your car when you got out of the race tonight, and it felt like everyone else was the one that was getting emotional, and you were kind of calming them down and saying, or I don't know if calming them down is the right word, but you were the one kind of placating them and saying, this is all a good thing. Could you talk about what your emotions were and
Well, again, I told my mom this when I saw her, and I mean, if you'd have been there, you'd have seen a lot of emotions. But I needed to get it out, and I did then, and I think it just kind of helped me keep it all in check. I mean, I'm an emotional person, and I show it, but I prefer to do that in private. Just sometimes the moment overwhelms me, and I can't hold it in. When I was there with Rick Hendrick after the race, that it definitely, if he had kept going with the things he was saying, it was going to get out of control there. But Jordan, who handles all my what we call driver comforts, he does a lot more than that. But he takes care of my seat, my helmet, and steering wheel, all these things that get me ready for race weekend. And he almost got me going right before the race started, because he's usually the last one that gives me a fist pump before I take off. And he was all choked up crying when he did it. And I was like, man, you can't do that right before I'm getting ready to pull off. So, those guys, they mean so much to me. But, I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna see all them, and I get to, hug on them all night tonight. We're going to go have a little party afterwards, and it's going to be fun. If I can, whenever you guys are done with me, anyway. Unfortunately, I got way too many friends here that I'm like, it was supposed to be for 200. Now we got 400 that showed up. I don't know how that happened.
Let's go
What's
over
another couple hundred?
Yeah, let's go over here to the far left to Dan.
Dan Wetzel, Yahoo Sports. Jeff, we just what was your reaction to the fans today, from the huge roars during driver introduction to that mob scene that, as you walked in here with everyone just trying to get hats and the whole thing?
Yeah,
what did that mean to you, and how did you balance, like, you were signing things and people were crying because you gave them a signature right at the end? That whole emotion from all of it.
Yeah, To me, the moment that really struck me, if you guys were in the garage, I know there's a lot of photographers there at the time, but when I got in the car for the final practice, just happened. I mean, there was just a lot of people there, and and it was, I started signing autographs as I was going to the car like I normally do, but it just kept growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. And the way the infield suites are over the garage area here, there were people up there, and all of a sudden they just started chanting my name, and it was a surreal moment. I had friends that were on the outside looking in, and even they were commenting on it. There were team members and just different people that were in the garage area that made comments to me, and that one really seemed to hit me the most over the whole weekend. Today, the thing is, you got to understand, race day, even though it was my final race and everything, and I wanted to be as gracious and give all that I could back to fans, I had to hold back a little bit because I did want to stay focused and stay on my schedule that I and my routine that I normally go through, because I wanted to put the best out there on the racetrack that I possibly could. So it was very cool, and I enjoyed it very, very much. But at the same time, in the back of my mind, I'm blocking out some things, getting ready for the race. But those are the things that over the next days, hours, days, weeks, months, that I'm going to go relive and just, again, get a huge smile on my face, and probably emotional as well for things like that, the way the fans were, you guys. I mean, my gosh, my parents and people keep telling me, yeah, don't read that one right now. You don't want to read that one before the race. Yeah, wait till after the race. But very complimentary, very appreciative, and I look forward to pulling all those together and seeing that's very, very cool that the fans and the competitors and the media were treated me that way. I'll never forget it.
Go to George Diaz right here on the left, and then we'll go to Jenna, and then we'll go to the press box.
Yeah, Jeff over here, George Diaz, Orlando Sentinel. Getting back to the race, and the car was obviously not handling the way you wanted it to. What was the frustration factor, I presume, at some point in the race you kind of figured out that this was going to be one of those deals that was going to take kind of a real crazy deal for you to win this thing?
Yeah, but you never stop trying to improve it, trying to find things out there, trying to advance positions. You never know what's going to happen. I didn't know what was going to happen on that final restart. So, to me, you can't ever give up. And that's the way I work. I get frustrated, and I get a little snappy in there because of that frustration, the adrenaline, the heat of the moment. But luckily I've had people work with me that understand, what goes through my mind in there, and just and Alan was incredibly amazing this whole weekend, this whole year. Even though we had our moments, the way that he's handled this team, I think those guys are really destined to do some great things in the future, and I'm excited for them. Today, we kind of lost the handle. The track was, I just really had a tough time getting the balance, getting a hold of the track. I was tight getting in, and every time we tried freeing it up, I started getting real loose off. My car would be good for 2 laps, and then it really go kind of haywire, and cars would start sort of attacking me. And then if I could run about 3 or 4 or 5 more laps, then I'd actually start pulling away again. So, that's frustrating, and it was a struggle, but we fought through it, finished 6th, and I'm happy the way it ended. I am. I was happy to have a restart where I made spots up on the restart. That's something I can be proud of, as well as all the other things I'm proud of.
Go to Jenna, and then we'll go up to press box. Go ahead, Jenna.
Jennifer, AP, I'm going to ask Mark Long's question first, so I'm not technically asking two questions.
That's fine.
You've gotten a lot of gifts this year. You gave one to all the drivers today. I guess it was a ring box or something.
You can use it however you want. I mean, the dividers come out, but the way the dividers are in there, I guess they could take it as a ring box, which I think is kind of meaningful to for this sport and the rings that we collect.
What led you to pick that?
What? Shoot, man, I don't have it, Edwards. Yeah, I had it with me all day today. The money clip that Richard Petty gave me, in '92, And so I don't know why I held on to that thing, but I just did. I mean, forever, I just have had this thing, and I've always held on to it. It's always been special to me. And so I wanted to do something for all the drivers, that I was racing against today. And I basically used I said, thanks for the memories, just like he did, because I thought of all these things. What can I say? What can I say? And I was like, no, he nailed it. So I put that on there, and I also put the starting position on there. So everybody, there was a number where everybody started. Of course, Keselowski didn't get it. I don't know. He didn't understand what that number was for. But the box, I mean, it's a cool carbon fiber, beautiful box, and I just wanted everybody to have something as an appreciation from me to them of what they meant to me racing against them over all the years, and it seemed like they appreciated it. Well, we planned it in advance. They were actually stuck in customs up until Thursday, which was frightening. But no, I had my dad, my stepdad. He went and presented it. He told me he saw in person about 32 of the 43 drivers.
And then my question is, Kyle Busch started his career with you at Hendrick Motorsports with you. You knew him as raw and temperamental and all the things. Did you ever, as talented as he was, did you ever think that he could grow up enough to win a championship?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know if grow up enough is the right term. His talent is so strong, and that team really found some things this year. But I will say that what he went through this year, I see a change, Kyle. And I don't know what it is. I've never talked to him and got into details about it. But when he came back, not only was he driven and just inspired by it, but you can tell he was racing smarter, with more patience, more, just being more deliberate. I think he just, between having a baby, the thing that happened to him at Daytona, the time with his wife, and other things, maybe Joe Gibbs, I don't know, family, friends, I think that time, he had a lot of time to think about a lot of things. And I don't know what he did, but he came out of it even better than he was before. And I think he showed it right away when he came back that there's a pretty good chance he was destined to win this championship.
Let's go to the press box. Go ahead.
Jeff, this is Thomas Buck from the Federal Reserve. In your decision leading up to retire and the way this whole season played out for you, in fact, you fought back today, how important was it to you to go out competitive and go out swinging rather than, got people maybe kind of snicker behind his back if the skills have diminished or something? Extremely
important to me. I made the decision for a lot of reasons. I don't want to go into all that, but the timing of it, I knew that I still have a team and the ability to be competitive out there. And I think last year only helped me make the decision because we had such a great year. It only made it easier for me because I knew it was coming. I felt like this is the right time. A lot of things added up to make it the right time. And I was just proud of what I did last year. To me, last year was a great year that I could have walked away from the sport and it was like, yeah, I feel like went out pretty much on top. So this year was disappointing in so many ways for a good portion of the season because I thought we had the ability to run like we did last year. I didn't think that our competition would catch up as much as they did, as well as the rule changes with the power and the aero would affect us as much as it did. So, that kind of caught me off guard, and I can't say that I was enjoying some, the competition halfway through the season, but then I saw a change, and I saw it start to turn a corner, and I started to think, okay, there's still a chance that we can end this season by doing it competitively the way that I want to do it. That doesn't mean I had to win a championship or even compete for a championship, but I wanted to win a race at least, and I wanted to show that I still have what it takes, and I think the chase truly showed that. I'm extremely proud of my driving and our team effort over these last 10 races. I think that's something that is going to stick with me for a very long time, and how I made the announcement and how we approached the season and how we finished it.
Come back downstairs to Bob Pockris.
Bob Pockris, ESPN. I have a two-part question. Mario Andretti and Lewis Hamilton were around your car.
How cool was that?
Do you see yourself in their league?
In their league?
Yeah, I mean,
Nobody's in Mario Andretti league. That's like a whole nother league. I don't think of things like that. I have a lot of respect for other forms of motorsports. I've always been my mom was a Mario Andretti fan. I was a huge fan of Mario, especially because he ran sprint cars and USAC and then knowing he ran stock cars. I do believe he's the greatest driver of all time, Formula One, all those things that he did. Lewis, I met a couple years ago at the Super Bowl, and he was. I mean, I like Formula One. Ever since I drove the Formula One car, I just have always been even more fond of that sport, and I follow it. I don't want to say religiously, but if you ask me what sport do you watch the most besides NASCAR, I'd say Formula One, then NFL. And so, I was already a fan of his. And then he went and won the championship, and we just stayed in touch. And then this year, I've been in touch with him, and cheering him on, and just communicating with him. I've been trying to get him to come to a race, and it just so happens today was the race that he was able to come to, and I can't think of a better race for him to come to. So having those two guys, and I don't know if they had ever met before. I'm not sure, because it was so cool having them at the car together and getting a picture with those three. And Lewis was so cool. He was asking a million questions. I mean, he wanted to know everything about the cars, the competition, the tires, the track, everything. My steering wheel. He's a racer, and I love that. And Mario was just cool as can be. Just, man, go do what you know how to do. You got this, man. And that was a great moment. So I don't necessarily say I'm at their league. I just have great respect for them, and I was happy they were here supporting me and being there at the car.
And to follow up, do you think Kyle Busch could ever be in your league, in the sense of could he win 90 races and 4 championships?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's more talented than I am. If he keeps racing the way that he did this year, to me, the edge that I always had on Kyle, as talented as he is, as fast as he is that sometimes he never knew where to stop pushing the car to the edge. And especially at a track like this, when you're right up against the wall, taking the right side off of it. And we saw it even in the Xfinity Series, yesterday. And if you can put pressure on him, you can kind of force him, to push it over the edge, because he's capable of pushing it so far. But this year I saw a new Kyle Busch, in one that he held back at the times when he needed to, and that's important. And if he continues on that path to do that, and the team continues to give him the equipment they gave him, then yeah, absolutely. I'm always a big believer on somebody who's been close to win a championship but hasn't pulled it off. I said this about Jimmy before he got the championship, his first championship. If he ever gets one, watch out, because once you believe in yourself and get confidence and you know what it takes to do it, and you're not second guessing what you're doing, and you pull it off, watch out. You can go on a tear, and Jimmy did that, and I think Kyle's another one of those drivers that can do that as well.
Let's go over here to Mike Embry. Raise your hand, Mike. We'll get him a microphone, and then we'll go over to Brant James right behind him.
Mike Embry, USA Today. You mentioned the money clip the King gave everybody in '92. Have you actually kept that with you week to week? Have you carried it during races, or just?
No, originally I just had it in a drawer, in my bedroom, with other things that were memorable to me, USAC championship rings, and I'm trying to think of other things that were pre. 1995, where I won a championship, and then the drawer turned into a safe, and that was one of the things that I've always held on to with other memorable things and as I've collected rings from races and championships, that's always something that stayed in that safe along with those other things.
Let's go to Brant James. Go ahead.
Brant James, USA Today Sports. What do you think tomorrow morning's going to feel like without a next?
I'm going to be hurting.
Well, besides that, once the aspirin and everything gets going.
You mean tomorrow afternoon?
or Tuesday, whatever.
Yeah.
What do you think it's going to feel like without a next race to look forward to for the first time in a really long time?
I mean, on one hand, I'm really looking forward to that because I put so much, into wanting to be the best and be competitive that I can be for my team every weekend. That I'm kind of ready to take a shift in that, and I'm still going to, I think, apply that same kind of competitiveness to doing my job up in the booth. And some of the other things that I'm going to be doing. So I know I just have that in me naturally, but to know that I don't have to go out there and run the car, an inch off the wall, try to find another tenth or two to some of the restarts and some testing. I'm definitely looking forward to not going and doing any testing. Jack and I said, "Hey, would you be willing to do some tests?" I was like, "No way." But the thing that I'm going, so that I feel really good about that I'm not going to miss. But when you watch a competitor go out there and pull off a great win or pull off a championship, there's nothing like that feeling, and I'm going to miss being a part of something like that.
We're going to take 3 more questions, and they're going to come from Jordan, Dustin, and we'll finish with Kelly. Go ahead, Jordan.
Hey, Jeff, Jordan Bianchi, SBNation.com. You didn't win tonight, but seeing everything that went on today, the fan support, the support from the drivers, you kind of mentioned that a little bit. Do you take some bigger feeling out of this than maybe just a championship?
Again, right now it's hard for me to give me an hour and a little bit of alcohol, and absolutely, there's going to be so much love in the air, and I'm going to be just everybody I see, talking more about the career and the moments and what it's meant to me to the thing that it's so hard for me to describe because when I see these, and this is why, me and my mom having this conversation was so important to me because, they're like we talked about something. I had no idea. There was a TV station that came and filmed our quarter midget race, and me in particular at that quarter midget race when I was like 6 or 7 years old, and I never understood why. I'm like, why did they come and do that? Well, I found out I was on the cover of this kids magazine with my quarter midget, and this is the genius of my stepdad. He thinks about stuff like this, and I don't know how that all came about, but somebody in San Francisco saw that magazine. They wanted to do a story because they needed content, and they decided to come follow some kids at a quarter midget track, and said we're going to put the main focus on this young kid Jeff who's doing well and winning races there. To come from that all the way to this and have these experiences, it blows my mind. It blows my mind. So, yes, when I start getting into that and thinking of that, there's no doubt that just being here, a part of this day, wrapping up this amazing career, there's no doubt in my mind that it didn't take the championship for me to come out of here feeling like I'm on top of the world, and I am. I just can't help the competitor in me still is cutting into that slightly right now, but I'll loosen up. I'll be fine a little bit later.
2 more questions, Dustin, and then Kelly.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. What does a boy talk to his mother about on the morning of one of his momentous days?
Oh, Dustin. You're a bad man. Well, of course, it started with just I mean, as soon as I saw her, I got emotional. Before she even came in the bus, I just saw her and I said, yeah, I'm bringing her in here right now. And, you know, she was not prepared for what was about to happen, I promise you. She walked in and we started, you know, hugging and talking, and I just started thanking her, you know, over and over and over again for all that they did for me to experience this weekend alone. I mean, and I had, you know, I because she wasn't at the track, so my stepdad was, and he would go back to the hotel and tell her some of the things that were happening, or they were reading some of the articles that you very generous and you know, sweet people were writing, because that makes parents very, very proud of their child. And so, you know, she was, first it just started being very, very thankful of getting here and being a part of this, and how special it was that I saw her at that time, because I didn't know they were coming to the track at that time. It just happened to happen. It was perfect. And then, yeah, we just kind of followed along those lines with some of that stuff. And I said to her, oh, Mom, I wish you could have been here yesterday and saw, you know, when I walked over to the car, and it would have blown you away, because it blew me away. And she's like, yeah, you know, John told me a little bit about that. That's so cool. And then we read this article, and we read this, and that was awesome. Oh my gosh, we're so proud. And that led to some other things that I was talking about. And then we got completely off to a different subject. So just talking about my sister and family and, you know, life, what's going on here and there, just stuff like that. Had a coffee. We had coffee together. It's boo-hooing as loud as a person can boo-hoo. It was when she got in the bus. She was holding back. I mean, she got emotional, but she was keeping herself in check. I think she was wanting me to not lose control, so she was trying to be the stronger person. But I didn't care. I was like, I want to get it out right now before I walk out of this bus. So, I mean, there was tears pouring down my face. I was like, yes. Perfect. With my mom before the day started. I can recover from this. I think I can get through the day now. Love it.
Final question, Kelly.
Kelly Crandall from PopularSpeed.com. Jeff, we've talked about Mom, but your stepdad said a couple weeks ago that after this weekend, it's not only an end for you, it's an end for him. Because ever since you were a child, he's been involved in some way. He's had something to do. He's had some place to go. And now he's not sure what's really next for him either. What conversations have you had with him, or what conversations do you think you'll have with him?
What are you guys trying to do to me right here? My gosh, this is out of control. Oh, man, can you serve some alcohol at this? My gosh. Yes. Food and alcohol would be very, very appreciative right now. He says that. I don't know if I believe him. I'll be honest. This guy loves to work. He loves what he does. And you know, the best thing that ever happened to me was him stepping away, and then us reuniting and getting back together. And life and business and everything has never been better. But he is orchestrated, as he does so well, an incredible team surrounding me of people at JG Incorporated. You know, he's just such a team player, and I hope that doesn't ever go away. That guy likes to keep himself busy. I don't see him just going away. You know, I think we both want to take a step back and maybe do some different things, and I'll be, you know, utilizing his expertise as often as I can. But I think, you know, for both of us, to change our career path or lives in a big drastic way after this year, I think is only fitting. You know, it makes sense to me, and I couldn't be more proud. I think he's very, very proud of what he's accomplished, and it wouldn't have happened without him. And you know, however he wants to transition, I support it 100%.
Well, Jeff Gordon, I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again, class act.
Thank you, Kerry. Appreciate it, bud. Thank you all. I appreciate it very much. I'll be coming in here as a member of the media in the future, so you'll be seeing more of me. But this is the last time you see me in a driving suit, but it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.